What I'm going to talk about today is whether or not you can make a difference in the world as an artist. This is a topic that for a long time for me, I kind of struggled with and would think about, because for me, I wanted to feel like I was going to be making the world a better place. And I wondered sometimes, if I become a concept artist and I just make movie monsters, all day, every day, at the end of my life when I die and I'm laying on my deathbed, am I going to feel like, man, I didn't contribute anything? Like, yeah, I made a bunch of cool stuff, but I didn't really make the world a better place. And that was something that I thought about a lot. Maybe that's just me, or maybe there's other people out there who feel the same thing. So, it was something that I was a little bit worried about. I felt like I wouldn't be able to make this grand change in the world. And so I'm going to address that topic today and talk about my thoughts on it. I'm going to come at it at two perspectives. One is on a macro level, on kind of like a huge scale, a grand scale of changing the world. And the other one is on a micro level. So on the macro level, if you're feeling like I was, like, man, can I make a difference? Can I change the world? And the answer is 100% yes. I've been to so many movies and plays and just creative content, art, where I was so moved that it inspired me to change myself and the way I was acting. One of my favorite movies is Rigoletto. It's a really small movie, and most people have never heard of it, and it is one of my favorite movies of all time, because I watched it at a time in my life where I was depressed and alone and unhappy with who I was, and that movie was the starting off point that helped me turn my life around and change who I was and who I wanted to become. I recently just saw Moana with my wife for her birthday, and it was beautiful. It made me cry. It made me happy. I walked out feeling grateful for my family and just full of love. And I feel like that is making the world a better place, that by creating good content that either causes people to really think about themselves or what's important in life, or that lifts people up and motivates them, I feel like that's making the world a better place. That doesn't mean that everything you make has to be like rainbows and butterflies. There's some stuff out there that's really quite tragic, but I still feel is valuable and makes the world a better place. So you can make a difference through what you do, and even if you're just, say, a concept artist working on a film, you're still contributing to making that experience for the people who are going to be viewing it. Some of the most beautiful stories in history have been portrayed through images and plays and theater, and they have moved hundreds of people. Les Mis, for example, is a fantastic musical that has moved thousands through their songs and through the story that they tell. So as an artist, 100% yes, you can make a difference in the world. But now I also want to talk about on a micro level. So when I'm going to share a personal experience, and it's pretty sensitive topic, so I'm going to make sure I don't use anybody's real names, but I'll leave the names out. But when I was working at the credit card company that I was working at, I hated it. I felt miserable. I felt like every single day I was basically putting other human beings kind of second tier to money. And I had a really hard time struggling with that. And sometimes they would want me to lie or maybe fudge the truth a little bit. And it really, really ate at me. And even though those people had made contracts and they had agreed to borrow the money and that they would pay it back, and the company honestly it was giving him as much leeway as possible and willing to forgive a lot of the debt, I still had a hard time with it. And so one day I just felt like I couldn't do it anymore. Like I was just ready to quit. And my supervisor, she pulled me aside and she said, let's go talk. And we went into another room, And she started explaining to me, like, I know you want to like make a difference and be a good person, but you can achieve that through your interactions every day with people that you come in contact with, the people you talk on the phone with, how you treat them and stuff. And I was like, yeah, like you don't understand, And finally, she started crying, and she said, okay, I need to tell you something. And she said, I know that you teach art workshops for high school students. And that kind of surprised me because I'd never told anyone at work about that. And she said, I know this because you taught my daughter at one of the workshops you went
I hope
to,
you guys enjoyed that. Remember, if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe, tell your friends about it. And also, I'm having a little bit of a hard time uploading it, but I do have artists looking at the students' work, and you saw people like Sean Keenan, Jake Parker, Will Terry, some really great people. So stay tuned for that. And if you want to see your work critiqued and have it be painted over and put on the channel,
go somewhere with it.
Send in your art. The email is in description as well as the guidelines. So please send that in. And I hope you guys have a great day.
My daughter, about a month before that, had been raped, and it had destroyed her confidence and her trust of people, and she was scared to do anything she didn't want to. She stopped doing everything she loved and basically become a shadow of herself. And when you said that to her, it gave her confidence, and she started to come back, and she told me that it was because of the way you treated her and what you saw in her that made her realize that she didn't have to be like that anymore. And so she was crying, I was crying, and I realized something, and it applies not just to art but to everything, that every action you have with another human being has the potential to make a huge difference in their life, whether you realize it or not. I wasn't trying to, bring her daughter out of depression after this horrible tragedy or anything. I was just being honest and being polite and being encouraging to someone else. And you have an opportunity to do that with every person you come in contact with. And honestly, in my opinion, I think that the more you can genuinely do to create meaningful and uplifting interactions with the people you come in daily contact with, I think that is more impactful on the micro level than it is on the macro level, because you can make amazing content for the world to see, but when it's personal, that I feel like that really touches people's hearts. So if that's something that's important to you, maybe I'm just crazy and dramatic, but I genuinely feel that yes, you can make a difference. And last thing I want to say, a story, an analogy that I heard that I really liked. So story goes that there was an old man walking along the beach one day and enjoying the sun, and down the shore he sees a young man, and it looks like he's dancing, enjoying the beautiful day and joyously dancing around the beach. And the old man thinks to himself, wow, how happy to see someone so young and so full of life just enjoying existence. And so he walks down the beach towards the young man, and as he gets closer, he sees that the young man isn't actually dancing, but he is picking up sea stars off of the shore and throwing them back into the ocean. And the man comes up to the younger man, the old man, and he says, what are you doing throwing all these sea stars back into the ocean? And the young man explains, well, they get washed up here, and when the tide pulls out, they're stuck on the shore. And if I don't throw them back in, they'll die from the sun. And the old man looks around and sees thousands of sea stars all over the shore, and he says, well, there's so many sea stars, you can't possibly ever make a difference. And the young man picks up a sea star, throws it back into the ocean, and looks at the old man and says, it made a difference to that one. And I think that's an awesome message, and I think it's really applicable, and I like to try and live by that. So anyways, thanks for listening to me blather on, and I hope if any of you are questioning this on whether or not you'll be fulfilled in what you do, that this answers maybe some of that questions for you. And you know what? If you have an experience where your interaction with someone else had an unexpected result that you weren't aware of, leave it in the comments. I love hearing stuff like that. I think it inspires me and motivates me to be a better person, and I think it does the same for other people. So yeah, leave that in the comments, and if you like this video and the other types of videos I've been making, then go ahead and subscribe. Thanks.